Hi everyone and welcome back to Sonya's Prep. In this week's video, I wanted to share with you how I'm going to be getting ready for the Jewish holiday of Shavuos. It's going to be a huge meal prep that spanned a few days because we were hosting and there were like 6 meals involved. We made tons of delicious recipes and I can't wait to share it all with you. I just released a video on how I menu planned for this entire Shabbat and Jewish holiday. So if you'd like to see that, click on the link above or in the description box below. I wanted to get an early start so I can get everything accomplished in time. So on Wednesday, I started off with making my broccoli quiche. I took a prepared frozen pie crust and baked it in the oven as per the instructions in the pie crust. I then took 3 whole eggs and placed it into a large bowl with half of an onion that I've chopped up with a few cloves of garlic. I do use this brand of broccoli florets that are frozen. They're greenhouse grown, and which just ensures that there are no bugs in them because broccoli is known to be infested with insects. So I just placed the entire bag into the bowl and seasoned it with salt and black pepper to taste. Also added in some onion powder and garlic powder in there and a big large heaping tablespoons of mayo. I mixed everything up and placed it into the cooked pie crust. I'm going to just be baking that for a few minutes, I would say 45 minutes in a 350-degree oven. You'll know that they're fully ready when the eggs are completely set inside. I also made a few deli rolls that I have pre-cooked and placed into the freezer, and this is how I did it. I wrapped it really well in foil and labeled everything. I also marinated a brisket, labeled it really well, and I'm also going to show you that I did a minute roast. These are all recipes that I've done previously on my channel. They're very simple. I just seasoned them up really heavily, and with the brisket I did put some barbecue sauce, and with the minute steaks, minute roast, I added tons of mushrooms and onions. Moving on to Thursday, we had another full day of cooking. So I just got home. I'm taking things out of the fridge that I've made last night on Wednesday night, and I'm just gonna freeze it all now. It's nice and cool obviously because it was there for about 12 hours in the refrigerator while I was working. While I'm in the kitchen, my kids are over there setting up the dining room table for Shabbat. So I give all of the kids a job to do. They made these cute napkin rings, as you see right there. They're doing a great job. Thank you, Aviva, for helping. And Miriam is upstairs doing her other chores. This is how I do it. So I double wrapped it in foil and then I put it into this 2.5 gallon plastic Ziploc bag. I wrote the name of what this is and the date that I did it because I'm actually not 100% sure that I'm going to be using it on this holiday. This is just my backup meal. So I'm going to put it into my freezer. So into my freezer it goes. I already have here 2 deli rolls that I've baked and frozen. I also have chipsticks here, which hopefully I'll record a video for you. But that is it. So right now, all of the kitties are eating their dinner, and I'm going to take this time now to decorate my cheesecake. I'm going to purposefully leave it in this container because we're not going to be eating it until Shavuot, which is 2 days away. So I want to keep its beautiful shape. So this is going to help it. I do have some caramel here because I want to make some caramel topping. So let's decorate. I then boiled a bunch of penne pasta so that I could have that on hand to make my penne alla vodka. Just pulled the brisket out of the oven. It's been in there from 4:30 and it is now 9:30. So it's a huge brisket. So let's see. Ooh, looking good. I still think it needs more time because it's still two together. Oh, sorry. See how if I pull it with the fork, it's still too hard. So yeah, it's still not ready. It was originally on 350 for about 3 hours, and I saw that nothing is really happening. So I upped the temperature to 400. So I think we're gonna put it in for another hour or so and check on it. So meanwhile over here I have my sushi rice. Looks great. I do have a whole sushi recipe video out, but this is 2 cups of short grain rice with 3 cups of water, and that is it. Nothing else is added to it. I boil it for a little bit and then I put a paper towel over the top and cover it for 20 minutes and then it's done. So this I'm gonna just take out of this pot, put it into a container and serve this sushi salad on Sunday lunchtime for Shavuot. Here is our stew that we eat on Saturday for lunch. It is super simple to make. I made it so many times on my channel. You basically add a 1/4 cup of oil to the bottom of a pan with your favorite meat. I use lamb or beef with some bones. Like bone marrow bones are delicious and great with this. I put 2 cups of rice in here, 1 can of tomato sauce, half of a carrot grated through a food processor, 1 onion grated, and a little bit of an apple with 1 tomato. And you add in 5 cups of water to 2 cups of rice, and you keep it on your hot plate overnight, so like about 12 hours, and you season it with some salt and chicken consomme, and that is all done. So as I'm about to make my soup, I realized that I'm missing a very important ingredient. So I'm so happy that I have this on hand. I love to get a few packages of these every time I go to the supermarket because they're just a really quick soup idea. It has everything in it. All I do is that I separately do chop up an onion, carrot, and potato, and I add that into the soup as well. It comes out delicious. My kids love it. Now that the vegetables have cooked for about 20 minutes, I'm going to add in the packet. Now I'm gonna make the herb salmon with spicy brown mustard sauce. It's a new recipe, and to do this I need about 6 cloves of garlic with about 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then I need to grind this into a paste, like with a mortar and pestle, but I don't have that, but I have this kind of device that my mom gave me, and I'm basically going to do this until it's all a nice paste. And then I'm gonna take this whole paste and smear it all over the salmon. right before baking, I am gonna spray some ham on it. You could also drizzle some oil, just a little bit. So while the salmon is baking, into the same bowl where I made my garlic, I'm gonna make the spicy brown mustard sauce. So for that, we're going to use about 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of vinegar, about 1 teaspoon of mustard, about 1/4 cup of oil, and 1/4 cup of dill. Mix all of that up, and as soon as the salmon comes out, this is what you're going to baste the salmon with. So before you put this on your salmon, just taste it, make sure it tastes good to you, and if there's something missing to you, add either sugar or more vinegar or whatever else you feel that it needs. Now that the salmon is out, it is looking gorgeous. We're going to put the mustard, spicy mustard dressing right over the top. You could also reserve this and just put it on the side, but oh gosh, this looks so good. Now I'm making the Moroccan salmon. So I have some red and green jalapenos here with a little bit of oil. I'm using vegetable oil here. Then I'm gonna drop in some cilantro stems and garlic, and I'm gonna season everything with some salt. To that, I'm gonna add in 1 can of chickpeas and about 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, that you see right here. And I'm also going to be adding this. This is about 1/2 cup of oil with 1/4 cup of paprika and 2 tablespoons of turmeric. And then I'm just gonna clean out this bowl by adding in some hot water. Mix everything really well. After this cooks for about 5 minutes, I'm going to add in my lemon slices and salmon. I'm gonna take my lemon slices and squeeze them first, and then place them all throughout. And then of course we're gonna top everything off with some cilantro. For those who really dislike cilantro, you can definitely substitute this with parsley. At this point also, don't forget to season the fish. gonna let that simmer for about 10 minutes and it should be perfectly done. Lastly for today, I made stuffed grape leaves. I do have a full detailed video recipe on this, so I'll have that linked in the description box below. It's going to go in the refrigerator now until I get home from work on Friday. Hello, so now it's Friday and I just got home, showered. I'm gonna start on my dips. I'm gonna be making an olive tamponade, I think that's what it's called, and I'll show you just how I make mine. So into a food processor, I have black olives, green olives, 1 red chili pepper, about 4 cloves of garlic, and that's it. I'm gonna pulse this and then add in a little bit of avocado at a time. This is basically how it came out. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Cilantro maybe? I don't know, I never made it and I just made it up, sort of, kind of. Whatever, I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll add like cilantro or something like that in here. Next up is the dill dip. I have mayo here, dill, about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, a squeeze of 1 whole lemon, some salt and black pepper. I'm gonna pulse this all to combine. Look at how gorgeous this is. This is like a multi-purpose dressing, dip. You could put this on top of meat pizzas, on top of salads, just to dip in your veggies. Really, really delicious. Miriam is here chopping up the onions for the French onion soup, doing a great job. Hilali's hungry, he's eating the stuffed grape leaves. Let me show you actually what they all look like. So this is the stuffed grape leaves. I put some sour cherries on top. This is the osvo, the stew that we eat on Saturday, but this does not do it justice at all. While it's going to be cooking overnight, it's gonna get like caramelized and all the juices are gonna come out of it. So this is what we have going on so far. Now I'm gonna be making tomato dip. So I have 2 tomatoes here. I have a green chili, about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, a teaspoon of vinegar, salt and pepper to taste, and I also threw in about like a tablespoon of avocado oil. Added in some paprika and some cayenne pepper. I wanted to have more of a deeper, redder color, so I'm going to be mixing it. Last dip that I'm going to be doing is a chimichurri dip. So all I have here is about half a cup of avocado oil, 4 cloves of crushed garlic, half of a lemon squeezed. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of sugar, salt and pepper to taste, and a combination of dill, cilantro, parsley, and scallions. So add in so that it's not like too much. And such an amazing dip and dressing to put on meats, chickens, fish. I see that it's a little bit thick, so I'm going to add in a little bit more avocado oil because it's supposed to be a little bit runny. And of course, taste it. Make sure that you like the taste. If it needs more lemon juice, if it needs more salt or sugar, just add that. So fragrant and delicious. Amazing Miriam helping me wash dishes. I love you. I love you too. I'm just chopping up some garlic and I'm gonna be chopping up the rest of these onions to make my French onion soup. At this point in my meal prep, it was getting very, very hectic and I could no longer record anymore because the guests were coming in. So I'm just quickly showing you what's going on my stovetop. But I hope with this video you got some maybe inspiration to cook up a huge meal for your family. Just get together and enjoy and reconnect. I hope you all enjoy your weekend, your week ahead. And I wanted to wish you a Shabbat Shalom from my family to yours.